What's up, everybody? My name is Dana Harris with Young Gurus Math Tutoring, and I'm back again to drop some more math jewels. In this video, I'm going to show you how to solve a compound inequality that uses the word and. Now, remember, there are two types of compound inequalities. One has an and, the other has an or. All right, let's get right into the examples. And the first example we're going to use is we have 5 is less than or equal to y plus 2, which is less than or equal to 11. Okay, now the ultimate goal is to make sure that we get the variable by itself. This time in this type of inequality, you're going to see that there's several things that we have to do to keep this balance. So there's a plus 2 in the middle with that y. Now the opposite of adding 2 is subtracting 2, but I have to subtract 2 in 3 different places: right here, and right here. Okay, so I need to subtract 2 and keep it balanced in each position around the inequality symbols. Well, 5 minus 2 is 3 or 3. Y stays here because those cancel out, and then I bring down my less than or equal to. 11 minus 2 is 9. Okay, so 3 is less than or equal to y, which is less than or equal to 9. Now we can graph that. And if I want to graph that, it looks like this. Okay, so let's just say 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, I'm counting by twos, but we look at the number 3. So 3, of course, would be halfway between 2 and 4. So I'm going to say right here is going to be a closed circle because it's less than or equal to. And then at the number 9, I'm going to have a closed circle as well. And notice the y is in between the 3 and the 9. So I'm going to actually shade in between the 3 and the 9. Please don't be confused. 3 is halfway between 2 and 4. 9 is halfway between 8 and 10. And so that's how you solve this compound inequality. And graph it, actually. So let's do another one. Of course, I need to show you multiple examples. Let's see. Let's do example 2. Now, example 2 is rather long. Okay. Example 2, I have 1/4, good old fractions. Don't you all love them? Is less than 2x minus 7 over 2 is less than 5. Okay. Now, same thing. We have to, whatever we do to one part, we have to do to this section, and this section. So I need to get this x by itself. In order to get that x by itself, then the opposite of dividing, because remember a fraction bar represents division, is multiplying. So I'm going to multiply by 2. And I'm going to put that in a different color just because. So what I'm going to do is, actually, no, I'm not going to write it in a different color. I'm going to rewrite this. So I'm going to say 1/4 is less than 2x minus 7 divided by 2 is less than 5. Okay, so I use the different color here. So I'm going to multiply by 2. So there I'll put times 2, and then we'll put this one on the left side. So I multiply by 3 in all 3 places. Now, when I multiply by 2 in the middle, I'm left with just 2x minus 7. Okay, I bring down my inequality symbol. 2 times 1/4 is actually 1/2. Okay, so 2 times 1/4 is 2 over 4, which is 1/2. And then over here, 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, now remember, we still have to get the x by itself. So first I need to eliminate this subtraction. So the opposite of subtracting 7 is adding 7. So I'm going to add 7. Let's do a different color again. I'm going to add 7 here. I'm going to add 7 there. and I'm going to add 7 there. Ooh, yes, I got to add a fraction and a whole number. So let's do the middle, because that's going to probably be the simplest part. So here I'll have 2x because the 7's cancel. Is less than 17. Now 1/2 plus 7 is actually 1/2 plus 14 halves. So that looks like this: 1/2 plus 14 over 2, which is 15 over 2. Okay, so I have 15 over 2 there, and now I need to divide by 2 to get rid of that 2 in the middle. So the opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2, because remember, whenever you see a coefficient right next to a variable, that means multiply. So here, let's do here first. So 17 over 2 is just 17 over 2. Here I'm going to have just x because those cancel. And then here, 15 over 2 divided by 2 is going to be interesting. So what it looks like is actually 15 over 2 times 1/2, because remember, you have to keep the first fraction, divide, and multiply, or keep the first fraction, change division to multiplication, and then take the reciprocal of this 2. So that ends up being 15 times 1/2, which is 15 over 4. Okay, so your final answer actually is x is between 15 over 4 and 17 over 2. Now you can change these to mixed numbers, but by the time you get to this level, you're going to be working with improper fractions. So if it makes you feel better, this is 3 3/4 is less than x, which is less than 8.5. Okay, so x is between 3 3/4 and 8.5, and it's important that you get those values proper, or make them. It's important that you get these values correct, because there's going to be a difference. The 3 3/4 and the 8.5, they're not included in our answer. So if we were to graph this, what it looks like is this, and I'm just going to put those two fractions. I'm just going to say 3 3/4, and then I'm going to say 8.5. Now, open circle on both of those, but x is between these two. Okay, so remember, we have that compound inequality with and it's going to shade in the middle. Okay, so very, very important that you make sure that when we look at these values, one way to check to see if your inequality is correct is to actually take a value here in this region that's shaded and plug it into your original equation. And so if I was to plug in 3 3/4 or 8.5, I would not get a balanced inequality. Okay, but if I was to take like 4 or 8, it would work out. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Go to Instagram at YG Math Tutoring, Facebook, Young Gurus Math Tutoring, as well as subscribe to this channel and share with someone else. Appreciate you helping me share my vision, trying to get students all across the world to be able to learn and understand mathematics so that they can go out and do great things in STEM and STEAM fields. Young Gurus Math Tutoring. I've got the solution to your math problem.